Some of us prefer certain seasons over other seasons. I know that I'm a summer person. I love the summer. Do I like all the hot weather? Not really. But I like the summer because I feel like I can get out, I can exercise, I can move around, and I just feel good about myself. But I've recently realized that when the seasons change and winter is upon us, things are colder, there's more cloud cover and more rain, I've seen that it can actually affect me. And I've realized it can actually affect quite a few of us. So if you're feeling affected by the weather and your mood is being affected and you're trying to figure out what's going on, you can't miss this video. I'm glad to be back, friends, and today I'm going to be talking about SAD, seasonal affective disorder, what it is, what happens to us when we have it, and how we can actually work to overcome it. Because just as important as understanding what it is understanding possible solutions that can work for you. In this mood disorder, there is depression-type symptoms, okay? And it often comes at a certain time of the year. Some of us don't even realize how much the weather, the temperature, sunlight or no sunlight actually affects us. And it's powerful stuff. And I didn't even realize that I was being affected by it as well. And so I really want to touch on this and really explain what SAD is, but also I really want to give some solutions. So let's begin. If you look at the DSM-IV, you'll actually see that this is considered a seasonal pattern. It's no longer really considered a mood disorder, and so it's a seasonal pattern. When you think about depression, you think about what comes from depression. What are some of the symptoms? Well, those are feelings of hopelessness, feeling helpless, feeling kind of worthless, feeling withdrawn. To some extreme, some people can have actual thoughts of suicide, a loss of interest in activities that once was interesting, withdrawing from social interactions with friends and family, trouble making decisions, it's a big one, and appetite changes. Okay, whether you're eating a lot, and a lot of times during the winter, a lot of people will crave carbohydrates, right? Lots of carbs. And we know what carbs do when we don't work off carbs and we don't exercise, they turn to weight gain. And so this is very important because a lot of people turn to food, and that's what you hear when people talk about comfort food. One of the things that happens, especially during the winter time, is that reduction in sunlight. Oftentimes in winter, what do we have? A lot of wind, it's cold, it's rainy, it's cloudy, it's dreary, and that's something that really affects us mentally. A lot of folks that are affected quite a bit are in Seattle, Washington State, as well as Alaska. A large percentage of the population in Alaska is affected, but also they're actually saying that there's a large percentage in Florida who are also affected. Now, I'm not exactly sure about that. I don't live in Florida, but I do know that when you have season changes and you're used to a certain type of weather and it changes, it's going to affect you. And the more extreme the change, I think the more extreme that it's going to affect you if you're prone to this as well. Some people are actually more prone to SAD than other people, and it can be based on personality traits. And there's a few personality tests that you can take. I will put a few links in the description below for you, and it might actually give you some insight to better understand yourself and your personality and how you may be someone that might be impacted more specifically by this extreme weather change. Okay, so now what are some of the solutions? If you feel this way, if you're feeling down and it just kind of showed up and it's not something that's been lasting for a long period of time, when the weather changed, it kind of seemed to happen automatically. Perhaps there's some folks out there right now that you're starting to realize, wow, in the wintertime I didn't realize I kind of over self-medicate. This is also a symptom of SAD. If you're over-medicating or self-medicating using alcohol or drugs or pharmaceuticals and it seems to be at a heightened amount during a certain season, you might want to think about it because you could be affected by SAD, and that's a byproduct of it. Another thing is a dawn simulation. A dawn simulation in the form of like an alarm clock is an alarm type clock that has like the dawn, like almost like the rising of the sun, and you see it, and it kind of as it starts emitting certain little bits of light. And so over like a period of an hour to 2 hours, it can fully light up, which actually signifies to your body that it's time to get up, even though it's dark outside. So that can be very powerful and even more more comforting than a really loud alarm clock or your phone, going off. I think it can be very powerful as well, especially if you live in the city where there's a lot of light pollution and you're having to use drapes. It's really hard when you have SAD and you have really thick drapes and it's very dark to get up. And it's just hard to get up anyway in that situation, much less if you're suffering with this situation. So that can be a very good device that can be used. There are medication options, and I think that would be the last thing I would get to, but definitely researching that and finding a physician if that is something that you are inclined to. Also, another option is the ionization. It's a negative ion air generator. And you can buy these pretty easy. I know they have them at, random stores. You go to anywhere from Amazon to Bed Bath & Beyond to anything online, and you can actually get one of those. When you use the negative air ionization, what it can do is it can actually do two things. It can help you sleep very well because this is very good for your body. And if you do a lot more research in the negative ion generator, you'll actually learn about why it does that, why it can help you sleep, but it can also give you energy. So in the office, it can be a very powerful tool to keep you awake and keep you focused, especially if you're feeling depressed, especially if you're feeling down. And a thing about negative ions is, when it rains and you go outside and you breathe that fresh air and you kind of feel invigorated, during that type of storm, there's a lot of negative ion generation, and that's kind of what those machines produce. Okay, so if you're one of those kind of people that when you're stuck in the office, you get outside and it's just rain and it just seems to invigorate you, that probably means that you could use more negative ions in your life. Also, it's very helpful at sleep too, to help you sleep and to stay asleep for a longer period of time. Another couple of solutions, vitamin D. Vitamin D, getting that from your health food store, making sure that it's a good vitamin D that doesn't have a bunch of other stuff in it, is a very good thing. And really researching how much milligrams you should take is important. Physical exercise is another thing that you can do. And I know it might be difficult, but 5 days a week at 30 minutes is really awesome. That is you're winning it. You get the gold medal for that. But when you do exercise, you get the endorphins, you feel good, you're actually taking care of your body, you're showing your body that you're taking care of it. And it goes a long way to really helping with this disorder. Okay, so those are some of the solutions to really help you offset seasonal affective disorder. They've done a lot of studies that show that the light therapy, the negative ion generator, but also cognitive behavioral therapy, changing the ways that we think about the winter, changing the ways that we feel about this time of year, really changing our thought process, because a lot of times throughout our life, we either like a particular season or we like something based on something that happened a long time ago or the way we were raised. And also, sometimes it's about getting out and having some fun. Sometimes when the weather changes and we're cold, we have a tendency of staying in. The lights are low. There's not a lot of interaction, and that's definitely not going to add to our health and wellness. It's actually going to make us feel even more divided and even more separated from other people. And so being cognitive of that and maybe adding some different things to your routine and maybe changing the thought process of how you feel about the winter or that particular season. So I hope this video has helped you, and I hope that it has actually put into perspective how seasons can really affect us, the change in the season, the way we feel about that seasonal change. That's a big deal when you think about the cognitive behavioral therapy, but also just what we're doing physically for our body is very important. And so the practicality of eating right, exercising, taking care of yourself, and then adding a couple other things like vitamin D or the light box that can really help, as well as just being aware that this exists, can actually calm your nerves down a little bit and can allow you to find some of your own solutions that I might not have even listed in this video. I hope this video has helped. Please share it with other people. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would really love it if you did. And in the comment section, let me know if you've dealt with seasonal affective disorder and if you found some solutions that I didn't talk about, or if you've actually used some of the solutions I've talked about and it worked for you, it didn't work for you. I'm interested in your perspective and your feedback. In the meantime, don't forget to live your true life. Are you currently in a toxic relationship and unsure what the next day will bring? Have you often wondered if there's more to life than this? Do you suffer from self-esteem issues that you've had since you were a young child? Have issues or have difficulty speaking with your family? Do you feel surrounded by self-centered people? Seems as though you're always giving and they're always taking. If you've answered yes to any of these questions, you need some answers. The 10-day challenge to live your true life gives you the knowledge and techniques for creating boundaries in your life that help us to deal with family, as well as dealing with those narcissistic and toxic people in your life. It offers the insight into understanding and overcoming your self-esteem issues, and to begin to see for the first time your amazing value. You owe it to yourself to find the power within you.